Hi folks, CodeTutor here and my name is Anil Deshpande. Welcome to the another video on Android unit testing. We have almost gone through around 10 videos as a part of the Android unit testing, and it is time to think about where we have reached and what is the next concept that we need to cover to really able to understand what are the next phases of unit testing that I will be covering as a part of the next upcoming video series. So we started with very first couple of videos which was more of a context setting as far as unit testing is concerned. We basically tried to understand what are the different aspects of testing, why it is done, what if you skip it, what happens, and then we also tried to understand what are the roles and responsibilities of various team folks in the unit testing, and then couple of basic conceptual understandings of the unit testing were explained. And then in the next couple of videos, we set up our application for unit testing. We basically added a couple of Gradle configurations, ensured that we understand the structure, the folder structure that you need to be aware of. The first one was for the Android application, but then the second video was more in a generic sense, so that even if you are trying to get started with unit testing without any proper Android, what needs to be the structure, that is what the second video is all about. And then we finally got started with the real unit testing. We wrote a simple unit test. We used a couple of unit test concepts, annotations like before, after, explore the various JUnit assertions, and we were discussing parameterized unit testing in the previous couple of videos. If I want to put it in a way, the level of unit testing that we have covered so far, I would say it is starter or beginner level of unit testing. This is good, but if at all you want to get started with the further concepts, then the next level, which I would say medium level, will be getting a little bit more detail oriented. In the next upcoming videos, some of the concepts that we would be covering is how to work with fakes and stubs. Fakes and stubs are very important concepts. In case if at all you want to write unit tests where you have dependency on some other classes, to give a better isolation, you need to use concepts of fakes and stubs. Writing test classes with fakes and stubs becomes very important. And then if you want to do unit testing with huge data set, right now what we have seen is writing couple of simple setups, but in certain cases you may want to supply the unit test with huge data. So maybe the data is there in some kind of a CSV file or some kind of a JSON file, and you want to supply the data from those JSON files to your test cases. So we will explore data-driven testing, and then of course, since coroutines are the reality of any Android application, it is very important for us to understand how to test coroutine functions. You will learn how to write test cases for suspended functions using run blocking and run test mechanism. And then finally we will start getting more into testing real world application components of an Android application, for example ViewModel, repository. And it is in this particular phase that we will have to really delve into the real Android application, which is full-fledged Jetpack Compose based MVVM architecture based Android application structure, and how to unit test those Android components using the concepts that we have learned before in the unit testing. And to do that, we will have to make ourselves familiar with mocking. What is a mock? What is a fake? What is the difference between the mocks and fakes? And then there are certain mocking frameworks like Mockito and MockK. It is very important that we learn these things to be able to test a typical Android application efficiently and properly. And as you write more and more unit tests, your code of unit tests starts growing, and it becomes very important to basically manage your test code base, and you have to start thinking about how you want to group these tests. So there is a concept of test suites. So if I cover these aspects, then I would say that you would have covered a medium level of unit testing in So in the next couple of videos, you expect that I will be talking about these concepts as a part of unit testing series. So the beginner level is done. Now we are getting into more intermediate, I would say medium level of unit testing concepts in Android. So stay tuned for the next. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.